What's going on, my peeps, and welcome back to the Boom Boom Room. First, I want to apologize for being away for, it's been a minute since I dropped my last video, but with that being said, I would like to thank everybody who subscribed to the channel, and I do appreciate all the support. Now, let's get into this list. As you know, I am a big horror movie fan, and I wanted to share with you my top 10 list of my favorite horror movies. This was a tough list to build because I watch so many horror movies and I'm a fan of so many. It was hard for me to narrow the list down to just 10. So, with that being said, I'm gonna start y'all off with a movie that I saw when I was a kid. It came out back in 1981. It was called Madman. It was a slasher film, and it was based on an old urban, or not urban legend, but a legend in the forest of a guy that had killed his family, and if anybody mentioned his name above a whisper while you out camping in that area, he would hear you and he would come and kill you. Now, if you're a fan of slasher movies, especially 80s slasher movies, this is a good one to check out. I would suggest it for you. Recommend it. Number nine is, a lot of people didn't like this movie, but a lot of people did. For me, it had, I thought the marketing for the movie was real good. They marketed it as it was like a real, based on a true story. And this one was the Blair Witch Project. It's kind of slow, but it's kind of building up your anticipation of what's going to happen. And I just thought they did a good job of putting this movie together. It was a low budget movie. I forgot how much it cost, but it was something like $6 million, something like that. But yeah, that was a real good one to me. Like I said, your top 10 might be different from mine, but this is just my top 10 that I'm going to share with y'all. Coming in at number 8, I don't think a lot of people probably heard of this movie. It was called Berkshire County. This was a sleeper, scary movie. It kind of, if you ever saw the movie The Strangers, it kind of put me in that type of mindset. But I do recommend this movie. It was a pretty good movie. I think it came out in 2013. Number 7 is an old classic, and I hope y'all got to see it. Candyman. Candyman was a scary movie. Back in the Candyman came, I think '93. You first saw that movie and you say his name 5 times, and people didn't believe in the urban legend, and they Candyman, and you know they got a remake coming out. Well, with the coronavirus and everything, things been pushed back. I think it was supposed to have came out this summer, but I hope it lives up to, you know, the original one. And I would like to see what it looks like with, you know, updated technology. And I hope they do a good job with the audio mixing, because to me, the audio mixing for horror movies really can make or break a movie. Like, you could have a good horror movie, but if the audio mixing, like when the jump scares happen and stuff like that, if it ain't mixed right, it might sound kind of corny. But Candyman is a good one. Number 6, I kind of would have this one a little bit higher on my list, but it's just so new. But I had to, it paid so much homage to, I would say, the originals, was Halloween 2018. I think they did a good job of this movie, remaking this movie. Well, except for the part with if you saw this movie, the part where the doctor was tripping. They could have did without that part. But they really did a good job mixing this movie. It's DTSX format if you got it on 4K. And if you got your Atmos setup, it's not a lot of Atmos, but when they use it, I think they use it good. One of my favorite scenes on the movie was when the family had barricaded themselves down in the basement, and Michael Myers was upstairs walking around through the house. You could actually hear his footsteps walking above you, and it sounded like you in the basement. So I was really looking forward to Halloween Kills, but yesterday they put out a notice that it's going to be pushed back for a whole nother year. So we won't get to see it until 2021, thanks COVID. Now we're going to have to wait to 2022 to see Halloween Ends, thanks COVID. But life goes on. We got DVDs, right? Number 5 is another classic that you could make a horror movie without having this movie on your list. Part 1 was good, but I would say the rest of the sequels after Part 1 kind of got a little bit jokish. But for number 5, I had A Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street was a real good movie if you was a kid back in the 80s. Watching that movie when all the kids were spending the night over each other's house, or over the girl's house, Nancy's house. I think it was Nancy. But yeah, as a kid, that was a good one. Number 4, I know a lot of people might look at me sideways on this one because I didn't pick the original, I picked the remake. I think the original, I mean, it's a scary movie, don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit too gory. I don't know if it's a such thing as an overkill in a horror movie, but I mean, and the remake was gory too, but it was just more modern, and I enjoyed this movie a lot better. But it was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 2003 version. I really thought that was a good movie. Jessica Biel did a good job acting. She was the lead actress in it, and I'm waiting and hoping that they bring this movie out in 4K, because this is a movie that I would like to have in Atmos to see how it sounds in here. But yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is number 4 on my list. Number 3, can't leave out Friday the 13th. It's definitely not a scary movie top 10 list without Friday the 13th, the original. I kind of feel bad because I didn't put Jason on my list, but Friday the 13th Part 1, that was classic 80s horror movie. One of the best jump scare scenes in, to me, movie history was that scene at the end with the girl in the boat. Anybody haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it, but that was that's a classic jump scare scene for horror movies. Number 2 and number 1, it was so hard for me to pick because I love both movies so much. But number 2, I went with Halloween Part 1, the original. That's like one of my all-time favorite scary movies. And it was, I think what stood out to me about that movie, what made it different from a lot of slasher movies, was how they used like the lighting, how they would use the shape. Sometimes you could be watching the scene, and especially now that they bring it out in 4K, you can see things a little more clear. There's a lot of scenes that I've watched that movie 1,000 times, but it's a lot of scenes where you see Michael Myers somewhere in the background that I really didn't notice. And the TV version or the VHS version, but now that it's in 4K, it's a little bit more clearer. And the lighting, how they use the blue lights, and it's like a shadow, you feel that he in the area. But yeah, so that's number 2 on my list, Halloween. And for number 1, my number 1 favorite scary movie that I just fell in love with when I was a kid. I think I might have been 13 the first time I saw it, but Halloween Part 2. Yeah, Halloween Part 2. I really like Halloween Part 2 a little bit more than I like Part 1. It was something about that hospital, being trapped in the hospital. Laurie had the broke ankle. She couldn't run. She had to crawl, and it's like my favorite. It's my favorite. When I think of Halloween or scary movies, that's the first movie to come to mind. But that is my top 10 horror movie list. Let me know what yours are. Leave them in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on my top 10 horror movie list. And yeah, I'll catch y'all on the next one.